Hey everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to Wolfgang Essentials. We're so happy to be here with you for the day. Big thanks, first of all, to Adam for such a great introduction, and a huge thanks to Google. Like the Foundry, for me, it's easily the best conference venue in Ireland, so we're delighted to be here. So just out of interest for you guys, is there anybody in the Foundry for the first ever time this morning? Put the hands up. Ah, brilliant, brilliant. About a quarter or a third. So we're delighted to have opened the door for you. So hands up who's at Wolfgang Essentials for the very first time. Great, big number. So for those of you who've been here before, let's trace back through the years and see if you can recognize yourself. So hands up who was here last year in 2018. Yeah, loads of people, great. 2017, give us a wave if you were here. Yeah. 2016? Yeah, getting a bit sparser. 2015? Much smaller. And then 2014, is there anybody who's still in 2014? No. Are we? Oh, yes, there is. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, so that's great. So we're delighted. If this is your first Wolfgang Essentials, or this is, your fifth Wolfgang Essentials, we're delighted to be here with you today. It's the first time we've ever had an all-day event. So I'm really excited. There's so much we have to share with you. We've worked really hard to get you really good value for your investment in time and coming here to be with us today. For me, the only way of having a sustainable competitive advantage in our industry, to have a sustainable competitive advantage in digital marketing, is to learn faster than the competition. It's the most important thing we can be doing in my book. So that's exactly what today is all about. In Wolfgang, we believe in this so much that we invest 15 hours per person per month in the Wolfgang Academy. So that's in upskilling, in ongoing upskilling. And what we're doing today is we're bringing you the best of the things we've learned over the last 12 months. We're going to share the best of our work with you from the last 12 months. And we're going to give you our best guess at what's going to happen next, in this mad beast of an industry we all work in. And I love this mad beast of an industry we work in. I think it's the fastest moving industry in the world. I think it's the fastest growing industry in the world. And because of those two things, there's tremendous opportunities for all of us for growth within it. So a couple of stats to back up those statements. We love counting things in Wolfgang Digital, and we like measuring the online economy. Our most recent stat is in Q4 of last year. It was growing at 49%. So all the digital marketing functions in all your organizations are now 49% more important than they were 12 months ago. It's huge. So it really illustrates that we truly work in the fastest growing industry in the world. Another thing I love counting is the innovations, So far in 2019, okay, we're only 14 weeks into 2019. And so far in 2019, these are the new advertising features that have been released by the tech giants. So Google, yeah. Google have released 8 new ad features, 8 new ways we can target our customers. Facebook, including Instagram, have released 5. Bing, or Microsoft, I should say, via Bing and LinkedIn, have released 6. And unfortunately, Twitter haven't registered one since October of last year. But what this really illustrates, the most important point to take from this slide is in the first 14 weeks of the year, there are 19 new ways of advertising to your target market. So it really demonstrates this statement that we work in the fastest moving industry in the world. And I believe this rate of innovation is accelerating right now. And there's 2 primary reasons for this. We've got push factors and we've got pull factors. So on the push side, we've increased competition. And on the pull side, we've new technological capabilities. So I'm going to speak to you a little bit about those now. Anyone recognize this fella? Yeah, young Bill Gates knows a little thing or two about innovation and competition. So this is a statement from Bill. And he's really emphasizing the relationship between increased competition and increased innovation. So if we jump back to our ad innovation so far, and we look at it through the lens of competition, it's quite telling. So who's breathing down Google's neck? Amazon. And a lot of the innovations that are coming out of Google are in the retail space, directly related to the intense competition they're feeling there. Facebook's probably got competition from 2 angles. Like the The other social media that's closest to us in functionality is Snapchat. A lot of the innovation we're seeing there is around stories, which is essentially Snapchat on Facebook. And then the significant strategic disadvantage Facebook have with Google is measurement. And half of those innovations, 3 of the 5, are all around attribution. So you can see competition really driving Facebook. So we'll be discussing those innovations, we'll be discussing these ones. Microsoft, these ones are a little different. Microsoft's innovations are like, you know that cool thing you can do on Google, that Google shopping? You can do that on Microsoft Bing now. You know that interest targeting you've been doing for years on Facebook? You can do that on LinkedIn now. So while there's a lot of innovation, it's very much kind of playing catch up, and once again, it's competition that's driving that. Twitter, unfortunately, haven't given us anything to talk about this year. But that demonstrates to you the importance of competition on innovation. And we can't talk about competition without talking about the elephant in the room, and that's anti-competition. So there she is, Margaret Vestager. So Margaret's the EU Commissioner for Competition. I suspect this is the first time she's appeared in the Google Foundry. Probably not great pals with Google right now. So there's been a number of fines. Over the last 3 years, the EU have fined Google 3 times. The average fine over those 3 years is 2.7 billion euro, right? Just to give that figure context, last year, Twitter globally turned over 2.7 billion euro. So it's a huge amount of money that the EU is costing Google every year. And they're taking steps, Google are absolutely taking steps to try and address this and maybe make it a little bit more of a competitive environment, which is great for competition. This kind of anti-big tech sentiment has drifted across the Atlantic. And we're seeing more and more headlines like this. And this is very interesting. This is very interesting. You know, we've seen this movie before, big tech CEOs looking really, really uncomfortable facing Congress. The mammies and the daddies in the room will recognize this face. You know, I've just put dog poo in my sister's wellies. I'm caught, and I'm in big, big trouble, you know? So we're seeing it across the board. So it's very, very interesting what happened, okay? So 20 years ago, the Department of Justice said, Microsoft, anti-competitive behavior, we're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. The world we live in today is dramatically shaped by that decision. And to illustrate that, let's talk about a parallel universe, okay? A parallel universe where the Department of Justice never went after Bill Gates and Microsoft for antitrust. In this parallel universe, there is no Google, okay? In this parallel universe, there is no Facebook. In this parallel universe, we're all sitting in a shitty auditorium in Sandyford. We're dressed biz cash, and we're talking about binging keywords. In this parallel universe, these guys are the digital marketing rock stars. So competition is a really great thing, really great thing. So it gets better. They don't mind us laughing at them. That's 5 of the richest people on the planet right now. So the competition's a brilliant push factor. That's why innovation is accelerating. On the pull side, it's technological capabilities. And 5G, it's coming, you know. It's going to be here in the next 12 months. So I could talk all day about 5G. I've waxed lyrical about it on our Wolfgang Bites videos, and there's more coming out where I'm talking about it more. So I'd urge you to subscribe to Wolfgang Digital on YouTube, and you'll hear those. The nutshell edition of what's about to happen with 5G is artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things are about to be super powered. Internet's about to get 200 times faster. And these 2 features are going to get absolutely super powered. And this makes us ask ourselves some really interesting, really profound questions as digital marketers. Questions such as, when all marketing ad ops have been automated, what the hell do we do? Yeah? Questions such as, you know, when all marketers have equal access to the Google marketing machine, which Google are going to give you a stunning talk about later today. The power of this AI-enabled marketing machine is terrifyingly good. But when all advertisers have equal access to this amazing machine, how do we compete with each other? And the last question, but probably the most important question, in a new AI-enabled Internet of Things-centric internet, how do you market to a fridge? Like in a smart home, there'll be a smart kitchen. In a smart kitchen, there'll be a smart fridge. And the whole idea of technology is it removes friction, those low-end repetitive tasks we do. So this is the kind of stuff that by the time 5G turns into 6G, we'll all need to have answered. And these are the kind of questions that we're going to be answering for you today in the agenda today. So before I jump to the agenda, while I have you, I'll just give you a brief, oh, there's the fridge been marketed to, a brief update on what's happened with Wolfgang over the last 12 months. So we celebrated turning 10 last summer. We went to a villa party in Valencia, in the mountains, up in the hills outside Valencia. From the mountains then to the forest, we've spoken to you about Wolfgang Forestry on this stage a couple of times. Last year in our first outing, we planted 200 trees in North County Dublin. Last week, we've bought our own land and we planted 1,000 trees last week. So I'll show you a little video to give you an update on that.
Today we're beginning a native woodland restoration project in an area that was once native oak forest.
So we've been putting 1% of our revenues aside now for about 2.5 years, and we've bought our land. You know, this is first Wolfgang Forestry Phase 1. We think we can put 10,000, 15,000, maybe 20,000 trees in here.
So we first arrived, we got the shovels, we started digging holes.
Andrew gave us a lovely talk on what we need to know and what not to do.
We're putting in a mix, a selection of native species because we're trying to avoid monocultures. And monocultures are single species. We also are putting in birch, a line of birch, we're putting in a line of alder for fixing nitrogen to start improving the soil.
The world and humanity is facing two massive crises right now. One is climate change and the other is biodiversity collapse. And really we all need to take action to do something if there is to be a bright future for ourselves and our kids and our grandchildren and beyond. So the amazing thing is there's one very simple thing people can do which addresses both of these crises, and it's very simply plant native trees.
I was digging and I was planting trees and also I was holding worms.
By the time these children are 80, this wood will have reached, say, its biological maturity, but it can grow way, way beyond.
The best part actually was refilling the soil, giving the tree a new home, so it was lovely.
People are getting a lot of headspace, getting time to interact with each other, and doing their bit for the environment as well, which is really important for us. And it's amazing to look at the progress we've made in a really short space of time. I'm blown away by how much we've done.
The frog is a symbol of rebirth, regeneration. This is going to be a long-term forest, and if it's managed sustainably, it can go on for generations. It starts with people learning how to plant a tree properly, look after the tree.
It's the first time I've done anything like this, so it's been a great day.
I had a great time and I can't wait to come back.
Come join us and support Wolfgang Forestry, and in doing so, do your bit to reverse climate change and biodiversity collapse. And we'd love to see you here in the field, turning over some sod, sticking some trees in the earth and generally having a bit of crack.
I was holding worms and planting trees.
Are you going to take them home?
No, I put them back in the ground so they can help the trees.
Really heartwarming stuff, and those of you, the clients in the room, you've already been supporting that over the last 2.5 years. You just didn't know it. We've been putting aside 1% of everything you pay us to do that. So, other Wolfgang news over the last 12 months. Last year was our best year ever for award wins. We're really proud of it for the work we were doing for a lot of you. So we won Best Agency in Ireland at the start of the year. Then we went to Europe and won the Best Large Integrated Agency. That's been a kind of an ambition for a number of years. Integration's a really big word for us. I think you'll probably see it as a theme recur through the day. And then for the third year in the trot, we won the Grand Prix prize at the Global Landies. So This is great. We're delighted about that. But as a digital marketer, I'm always looking at the metrics to find, right, what's the area we can optimize on here? What can we improve on? And the figure I found was we were submitting five clients to most of those award ceremonies, and typically 2 of them are winning. So we had a conversion rate of 40%. So I said, all right, that's the one. I think we can do better than that. So around about 12 months ago, we brought a new activity into the Wolfgang Academy, which we called circles. They're kind of based on the concept of virtuous circles. And what happens is every 2 weeks, each of the teams sit down together and they go around and each person talks about their digital marketing highlight, the best bit of work they did over the last 2 weeks. And then we go back around the circle and people have an I intend, something they've learned from someone else that they want to go and execute really quickly. So this is brilliant. It's made the knowledge, the insights, the innovations really fluid within the organization. We've 50 staff, we've 100 clients. So getting the best of our work around to everybody as quick as we can is really, really valuable. So we're only halfway in. So back to my metrics, did we move the metric? We're only halfway in to the awards season this season. But so far, we've been submitting 6 clients and we've won on behalf of 5. So we've more than doubled that conversion rate. And for me, this has been one of the key reasons why we've been getting the best of our work to all the clients really quickly now. So that's one of the ways we're kind of getting better at what we do. So that's great, getting better at what we do, but another really important thing to do when the internet is iterating and that iteration is accelerating is to get really good at doing new things. So over the last while, we've launched a number of new services. You're going to see some of them today. You're going to see our conversion growth program. You're going to see Wolfgang Intelligence. You're going to see interactive content. You'll see we'll have a bit of fun with voice. You'll see our new voice service as well. So we've been launching these quite quickly over the last few months, kind of in beta, and we will be rolling them out more. We've arrived at a process for how we launch new services. So the reason for this is we're operating on 2 levels here. First of all, we're trying to release new services that are going to be really important to you right now, but increasingly important as the internet evolves. But the other thing we feel we really need to be able to get good at is launching new services. We think that's an organizational skill that's going to get really, really important to all of us, to brands and to agencies, as 5G takes off and we all have to figure out how we advertise to a fridge. So we're trying to build that in as well as a process. If you're interested, I'm very happy to share with you our process for doing it. It's all based on OKRs. The Googlers work to OKRs and Microsoft, they work to OKRs. Bono, in his quest to end world hunger, uses this OKR process. If it's good enough for Bono, it's good enough for us. So there's a great TED talk on it by a fellow called John Doerr, and that's the basis of it. So I'd be very happy to share with you how we do it, because we'd love to involve you guys more and more in the process going forward. And last but not least, and how we're evolving, is your feedback. Like, we take this really seriously. When we're trying to dream up what the internet looks like in 3 years or 5 years, we've this amazing resource, and it's all of you. It's the best marketing minds in Ireland, and we've got direct access to you. So based on your feedback, thanks very much. We send out feedback on how we do and what can we get better at every 6 months. And one of the key things that came back in the last round was, while we spent a lot of time talking with you about the last month and performance over the last month, we haven't been spending any time talking about what happens in 12 months, 3 years, even 5 years. So off the back of that feedback from you, we've started doing blue sky sessions. We're just a few in, where you guys share your future plans and we share ours, and we try and come together to something that's going to be beautiful in the future for your business. And the feedback's been amazing, so we can't wait to do more of those with you. Another piece of feedback that came back in the last round was you'd like more content from us, like more, digital marketing content. So that's part of the reason why we've such an expanded agenda for you today, the biggest one we've ever put together. So on the agenda, I won't go through the whole list, but the main things you guys need to know is we're having lunch at 12:30. And then in the afternoon, we want to give you lots of breaks, because we're conscious we want to keep your minds fresh. So there'll be about an hour of talks and a break, about an hour of talks. We're not having a Q&A. So what we've learned about Q&As is there's a much better way. If we can facilitate all of you having a conversation, that's a bit more interactive media than the whole room listening to 2 people. So what we have is what we call prosecco roundtables. So if you have questions, note them down as we go through the day. At the end of the day, I'll show you which tables, which speakers are at and cover which topics, and you can go out there. There'll be bottles of prosecco on the tables. You can help yourselves, and you can generally have a chat with the people around you. So that's worked really well for us previously. We've guest speakers for you today as well. And the guest speakers are kind of like, I'm not going to pronounce this right. You know when you do that tasting menu in a restaurant and you get the palate cleanser, is it called an amuse-bouche? So the guest speakers today are something of an amuse-bouche. They're like a brain cleanser. So they're not going to talk to you about digital marketing. They're going to talk to you about other things that we think are really interesting, really enriching. So we've got a talk that's on the Wim Hof method, which is like a type of breath work, a type of meditation, I guess. And then we have a talker later who's one of the foremost voices on ecology in Ireland, and we're really privileged to have her as well. So when I had a look, when I kind of reflected upon the guest speakers I'd chosen for you today, I had a little laugh at myself. I turned 40 in 2 months now, and it seems like for my midlife crisis, I'm turning into a feckin' hippie. But sure, there's worse things I could be doing, isn't there? So before we launch into it, if we could get that photo, the 2019 Wolfgang Essentials photo, so you can look at yourselves in years to come. So if I could ask Dave to come up to the stage. How are you, Dave? Dave, if everyone wouldn't mind standing up and giving Dave a wave. I'll let you do the instructions, Dave. Hey, Neil, come on up in here.
Are we all in?
Yeah.
Good, okay.
All right. Give. Hey!
One more, just one for me.
How are you, Dave? Thank you very much.